Think about the last time you peeled open a longan. That moment when you crack the thin, brittle shell, the translucent white fruit inside catching the light like a small pearl, the burst of floral sweetness that is somehow both delicate and intensely satisfying at the same time, the way the smooth, slippery flesh gives way all at once. If you have had one, you never forget it. And if you have never had one, you are missing one of the most extraordinary fruit experiences anywhere on Earth. A fruit so beloved across Southeast Asia and China that hundreds of millions of people consider it not just food, but a symbol of prosperity, family, and celebration. But here's what almost nobody outside of those regions has ever thought about. Where do the billions of pounds of longan that feed those hundreds of millions of people actually come from? Who grows them? How are millions of these small, delicate, impossibly perishable fruits harvested at massive commercial scale and moved to a market table on the other side of the world before they lose the fleeting quality that makes them so extraordinary? Today, we're going inside that story. Let's go. The longan, whose name in Chinese means dragon eye, a reference to the appearance of the peeled fruit with its dark seed visible through the translucent white flesh, is one of the most commercially important tropical fruits in the world, though it remains largely unknown to consumers in Europe and the Americas who have not grown up in the culinary traditions where it holds such significance. The world produces somewhere between 3.5 and 4 million tons of longan every single year. That is still one of the most important tropical fruit harvests on the planet, especially when you consider just how delicate and perishable this fruit is and what it takes to move it from tree to table at that scale. China is by far the largest producer, with the southern provinces of Guangdong, Guangxi, Fujian, and Yunnan accounting for the majority of global production. Thailand is the world's most important longan exporter, supplying markets across Asia, Europe, and North America with both fresh and processed fruit. Vietnam, Taiwan, Australia, and several other Southeast Asian countries also produce significant quantities. The global longan market is worth billions of dollars annually and is growing as health-conscious consumers worldwide discover its vitamin C content, antioxidant properties, and natural sweetness. Before we get into how longan is grown and harvested at scale, you need to understand something about this fruit that changes the way you think about the entire farming system built around it. The longan tree is not patient, and it is not consistent, and those two facts drive everything. In its natural state, the longan tree is what botanists call a biennial bearer, meaning it tends to produce a heavy crop one year and almost nothing the next. A boom and bust cycle that makes commercial planning nearly impossible. Then, Thai longan farmers discovered something remarkable, something that would transform the entire industry. If you apply potassium chlorate to the soil around the tree roots at precisely the right moment in the growth cycle, you can force the tree to flower out of its natural season and produce a crop on a schedule the farmer controls. Not the tree, the farmer. Crazy, right? One chemical management technique basically hacked nature and turned Thailand into the longan export capital of the world. This technique, called off-season flowering induction, allows Thai growers to choose when their crop ripens, avoid the price collapse of peak season gluts, and supply export markets with fresh longan at times when other regions are not producing. It is one of the most elegant and most commercially significant agricultural innovations in tropical fruit farming anywhere in the world. Longan trees aren't grown from seeds. Farmers use air layering. They wrap a branch on the mother tree with moist medium, roots form right there on the branch, then cut it off and plant a genetic clone. That clone starts giving commercial fruit in just 3 to 5 years, hits peak production at 8 to 10, and can keep pumping out fruit for 30 or 40 years. One mature tree, 50 to 200 kilos per season. That's a serious long-term investment. Now here is what actually makes longan farming brutal to manage. The trees are greedy. They are heavy feeders that demand precise potassium inputs at exactly the right growth stage, or the fruit stays small, pale, and flavorless. 1 week of inconsistent irrigation during fruit development, the skins crack and the entire harvest is worthless. and every tree has to be pruned carefully after each harvest to keep the canopy workable for the following year. Otherwise, within a few seasons, you are trying to harvest from 15-meter giants with nothing but a ladder and a pair of scissors in 40-degree tropical heat. Pest management adds another layer of pressure. In certified export orchards, every single spray application must be documented with precise timing relative to harvest to meet the phytosanitary requirements of importing countries. Sound exhausting? It is. But all of that season-long effort is just the setup for the real make-or-break moment, the harvest itself. Longan fruits ripen in clusters, large branching panicles that can hold dozens to hundreds of individual fruits. And the clusters on a single tree do not all ripen at the same time. Harvest workers must assess each cluster carefully, cutting only those that have reached the correct ripeness, the correct color, the correct size, the right sugar level, while leaving others to continue developing. Cut a cluster too early, and the fruits will never develop the sweetness that makes the variety valuable. Cut too late, and deterioration begins before the fruit can reach the market. The tools are simple, specialized harvest scissors and small pruning shears, but the judgment required to apply them correctly is the product of seasons of experience. Imagine doing this for 8 hours straight in 40-degree heat with 90% humidity, making split-second decisions on every single cluster, tree after tree after tree. That is the reality of Longan harvest for thousands of workers across Thailand and southern China every single season. The physical demands are significant because of the height of the trees. In traditional operations, workers climb the trees directly or use bamboo ladders, working through the canopy branch by branch. On larger commercial operations in Thailand and China, hydraulic elevated platforms have become increasingly common, allowing safer and more efficient access to the upper canopy. On large commercial farms during peak harvest season, crews of 20 to 50 workers begin before dawn, aiming to complete the heaviest cutting before the midday heat peaks. The harvested clusters go directly into large plastic crates designed to minimize fruit damage during transport. From the orchard, freshly harvested Longan moves almost immediately to packing facilities, because this is among the most perishable of all commercially traded fresh fruits. At ambient tropical temperatures, a fresh Longan cluster begins browning within 1 to 2 days of harvest. That is the clock the entire industry is running against. The harvested fruit reaches packing facilities within hours. They fumigate it with sulfur dioxide. Precise dose, precise timing. Too little, useless. Too much, rejected at customs. Get it right, and shelf life jumps from 2 days to 2 or 3 weeks in refrigeration, exactly what you need to ship it across the Pacific. Then it's sorted, graded, boxed, and loaded. The entire industry is in a silent race against the clock from the second that first cluster is cut. The people behind the Longan industry are a mix of large commercial operations and the smallholder farmers who still account for a significant portion of total output across Thailand, China, and Vietnam. In Thailand's Chiang Mai and Lamphun provinces, the heartland of Thai Longan production in the Northern Highlands, Longan farming is deeply woven into the cultural and economic identity of the region. Many farms have been in the same families for 2 or 3 generations. The knowledge of managing Longan trees through flowering induction, through the demanding growing season, through the intense pressure of the harvest window, this is expertise passed from parent to child with the care that reflects how much is at stake. The harvest workforce includes both permanent farm employees and a significant seasonal labor force. In China's Guangdong province, rural migrant workers travel from other provinces during the harvest season to work the enormous Longan orchards of the Pearl River Delta and surrounding hills. These workers, their skill, their physical endurance, their willingness to work in conditions most people would refuse, are the invisible foundation of every Longan product that reaches a market anywhere in the world. And right now, the entire industry is fighting 3 silent battles that could change everything. Climate change is disrupting the cool, dry periods that Longan trees depend on for natural flower bud initiation. Warming winters are making this natural trigger less reliable and increasing farmer dependence on chemical induction that adds cost and complexity. Fruit fly infestation is the most serious export barrier. Importing countries, including the United States, Australia, and the European Union, require certification that exported longan is free from fruit fly larvae, requiring either cold treatment of the fruit before export or certified fruit fly-free production zones. Both add significant cost. And competition between producing countries for the same export markets creates constant price pressure that makes survival difficult for higher-cost operations. Despite all of this, the global appetite for longan is growing. New consumers in Europe and North America encountering the fruit for the first time are becoming loyal converts, and the farmers and workers who have built this industry over decades are adapting. New varieties, better cold chain infrastructure, more efficient flowering induction protocols to meet a world that is only just beginning to discover what hundreds of millions of people across Asia have known for thousands of years. The next time you open a package of fresh longan or crack open that small, rough shell and find the pearl-white fruit inside, take a moment to think about everything that brought it to you. A farmer in northern Thailand who decided exactly when to treat his trees so they would flower on his schedule. A harvest worker climbing through a tropical canopy in 40-degree heat, cutting clusters one by one with the judgment of experienced eyes. A packing house working through the night to get the fruit fumigated and into refrigeration before the browning clock ran out. A refrigerated container crossing the Pacific, keeping the fruit alive through 3 weeks of ocean travel. And a fruit that has been feeding, delighting, and bringing people together across Asia for thousands of years, now making its way to tables on the other side of the world. If this video changed how you see your food, smash that like button. It really helps the algorithm. Share it with someone who's never cracked open a longan, and drop a comment. Have you ever tried one? Where? Subscribe and turn on notifications for more hidden stories behind the world's most incredible foods. Next week, the insane billion-dollar journey of durian, the king of fruits that almost nobody outside Asia truly understands. See you then.